Hello, candle lovers! Thank you for tuning in to me today. My name is Greg, and this is all about candles. Coming at you today from my hotel room in Vancouver. I did bring some candles with me to finish up, and I wanted to share a review with you of Sunlit Trails from Bath and Body Works. Oh, I do apologize about the glare from this candle. I'm sure by now most of us have seen this candle up close and in person and know what it looks like. Honestly, not my favorite looking collection from BBW this fall. In fact, I think that the first wave of fall candles that we got from them, they were nice, but a little bit underwhelming, especially considering what we just saw get released in the store. All of the new beautiful fall candles. If you haven't seen or heard about them yet, you can check out my last Bath and Body Works candle haul. I cover a lot of them in there, and there was beautiful packaging. But in this first sort of round of fall candles, we got a lot of like camping vibes. And I'm just not a very big camping person. In fact, to be honest with you, this hotel room feels a little bit too much like camping for me. Anyways, however, Sunlit Trails, I really liked this fragrance. Now, honestly, this is the type of fragrance that is very much like right up my alley, right in my wheelhouse. So it's probably not going to come as a big surprise to a lot of you folks or to myself that I really enjoyed this one, but whatever. I thought it was great. I love piney, woodsy fragrances like this. The scent notes on it are fir branches, bright citrus, and golden sun rays. And yeah, this candle reminds me a lot of two candles that we've had fairly recently from Bath and Body Works. One of them was that evergreen and fir candle that came out in the Neutrals line, I believe on Candle Day. And then last fall, we got a candle called Fall Forest. And it reminds me a fair bit of that one as well. I don't think, especially after hearing some other YouTubers talk about them, I don't think that they are exact repackages of Sunlit Trail. I think they were very close. But to my nose, they were very close, but I don't think that they were exact repackages. I believe that this was a brand new fragrance from Bath and Body Works, and man, I really enjoyed this one. Gosh, it's so woodsy. It's very piney. It's definitely got that like balsam vibe to it. I do think that the concept is a little bit malaligned because Sunlit Trails really kind of, for me, would evoke, you know, hiking through a really sunny, beautiful forest on a really hot, like summer's day. But for me, this is much more of kind of a darker forest. not like a dark, spooky, scary forest, but kind of a damp, a damper, dark forest with really tall trees and a lot of shade. And even when it is a fairly hot day, when you're in the middle of this forest, it's actually quite chilly. That's kind of the vibe that I get from this, more than like a sunlit sort of citrus situation. In fact, there is a bright citrus note on this candle, and I really don't think that I pick up on it whatsoever. I think that the top and the middle of this candle, like the majority of this fragrance, is sort of a fresh balsam, piney, earthy kind of situation. But then in the base of the candle, it's actually, there's something a little bit funky, something a little bit damp, a little bit mossy, maybe like moss or vetiver or like damp needles and grass, you know, like that sort of a vibe. It's very foresty. It is a little bit of like a Christmas tree situation, you know, it definitely has that sort of pine fir needle tree vibe to it. However, it's not like a Christmas tree because it's not like a winter situation, you know? Usually outdoorsy fragrances like this at Christmas time that are sort of gonna give you that real Christmas tree vibe. Usually in candles like that, we have a little bit of a eucalyptus, something that gives it a little bit of a cooling effect, like like some eucalyptus or some juniper or some mint, things like that. This doesn't have that component to it. So this has much more of sort of a warm and damp like component to it, which makes that Christmas tree not all that Christmas tree-ish. Does that make any sense to you guys? Yeah, and I really, really like this one, but I mean, candles like this are just right up my alley. I knew that I was gonna like it when I smelled it in the store. This candle burned pretty well. I burned it all the way down to the very, very bottom. The entire candle had liquefied. That discoloration that you see at the bottom there, that didn't happen until the very last burn. Like, as you can see, I let this candle really go off at the end, and it just extinguished itself, but it was a really lovely, nice, clean burn from beginning to end. Do I wish it had been a little bit stronger? Yes. I'd say that the strength and throw on this was probably like a 5.5 or a 6 in my more open space at home. And then in my bedroom, I'd say it was like a fairly decent 6 or a 6.5. Same thing here in the hotel room. I finished off the last 2 burns here in this hotel with very low ceilings. I'd say it was getting to like a 6 or a 6.5 for strength and throw. Not bad at all. Do I wish it had been a 6 or a 6.5? Like, I wish this had been a solid 6.5 in my more open space at home. That would have really been a sweet spot for me and making me want to repurchase it right away. But it just fell a little bit short of the strength and throw that I would like from a candle like this, because honestly, not all of the components necessarily came across when it was in my more open space. It did turn into a little bit of a generic balsam pine needle Christmas tree kind of situation. I noticed that in smaller spaces, I picked up a little bit more on the nuance of it, the dampness, the mossiness, that sort of forestiness of it, like the forest floor, you know? Yeah. Oh, I think I might grab another one. I'm not sure. We'll see what else comes out for the rest of fall. Right now, I'm really obsessed with cinnamon pine cone. Man, that is a nice candle. I'm not convinced I'll repurchase this. Would I recommend it? Perhaps, if you're into fragrances like this and you don't need something that's like gonna blow the roof off your house. I thought this was nice. I thought it was reasonably well balanced. This is a type of candle that I love. I don't spend all that much time outdoors in nature. So I like to bring the nature to me. Yeah, perhaps a repurchase and a recommendation with caveats. Anyways, that's all I've got for you folks today. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. You can follow me on Instagram at allaboutcandles and email your burning questions to allaboutcandles@gmail.com. If you could hit me up with a like, comment, subscribe to my channel, that would mean the world to me. And until next time, my dear, gorgeous, and beautiful candle-loving friends, let's burn some candles and bitch about it. Thanks, you guys. Bye for now.